Hello and thanks for joining us. My guest today is Kim Wargo, the head of the Lab School. Kim, thank you for joining us. Your school is a very interesting place. Can you just start off by telling us some of the history behind it?
Absolutely, John. Well, we are a school that's been around since 1967, and we've had the same mission since day one, which is to serve students with language-based learning differences and ADHD. We were founded by a visionary educator who also happened to be the mother of a dyslexic child who was struggling in his regular school experience. And she believed then, and we believe now, that every child has the capacity to learn as long as they're in an environment that understands who they are as a learner. So she founded an amazing school that takes an arts-based focus and helps kids achieve their amazing potential.
Yeah, tell us more about how your philosophy and how you can tap into kids' potential that way.
Absolutely. So the most important thing is that we believe that every child has unique strengths, and we start from those strengths to help kids work on the things that are hard for them. So all of our kids have a learning difference, and that means that there are things that are harder for them than a neurotypical learner. For example, if you're dyslexic, learning to read is a real struggle. But what we also know about learning differences like dyslexia is that they come with unique strengths, an ability to be creative, an ability to think about problems in a different way. Our kids are often super artistic. So we want to put them in experiences where they're getting to use all those amazing strengths, which helps them have a willingness to work on the things that are hard for them.
And I guess you do a lot of like cross-curriculum work. You spread it around, is that right?
Absolutely. So pretty much any classroom that you walk into at the Lab School is going to feel multidisciplinary, artistic. It's going to have a lot of hands-on learning going on. It's going to feel almost like a lab in a way. There's a laboratory environment to what we do because we really believe that getting kids to own their learning and to use all parts of their brains and all parts of their creativity and their strengths will help them achieve in the things that are difficult for them.
How do you get kids with learning differences to achieve goals without, maybe getting frustrated or getting setbacks? What's your philosophy there?
Yeah, well, I think what we try to do is we couple a very research-based approach. So we are very much focused on teaching through the methodology that is called the science of reading. So this is a very structured approach to learning how to read. We use an Orton-Gillingham framework for all of our reading instruction, and our teachers are expert at helping kids build on sounds and letters to learn how to become a fluent reader. But we know that if all we do is focus on that skill building, kids can get really frustrated because those are the things that are hard for them. So we put that in context of feeding their cognitive and intellectual abilities through project-based learning, through arts experiences, through a methodology that we call Academic Club, which is a way of teaching really high-level content through role-playing and immersive experiences for kids who are still learning to read and aren't able to read to learn.
And I'm told you have a lot of experts in-house, in addition to the teachers who happen to be experts as well.
We absolutely do. So one of the really unique parts of our program is that in addition to our expert faculty who are trained in how to teach kids with learning differences, we also have a team of clinical services professionals. So that means we have occupational therapists, we have speech and language pathologists, and we have mental health clinicians. And that team of about 30 professionals who work for us full-time have the opportunity to work one-on-one with students in sessions that are designed just for their needs, but also they serve as an expert team that can push into classrooms, give professional ideas to teachers who may be struggling with how to get a kid to get over a hump in their learning. And so it really enhances the experience for every student at our school.
Just as an aside, can you brag about your robotics team? I was told about that too.
Absolutely. So this is, I think, one of those things that exemplifies that creativity and problem solving that I was talking about. So we started a robotics class a couple years ago, and it started as just one section. And then the next year we decided to full on make a full-time teacher position for robotics in our middle school. And out of that, our middle school teacher said, I think these kids are ready to compete. So in our very first year of entering competitive robotics at the middle school level, we were ranked in the top 15 in the country and number one in DC. Our kids excelled at this program, and this is not a competition for kids with learning differences. This is all middle school robotics teams, and our kids knocked it out of the park.
That's so cool. So what would you describe your student body like in general, and then what is it like for them as they move past your school? What's their future like after attending your school?
Great question. I think a lot of people don't really understand what's the trajectory for someone with a learning difference. And what I can say is the trajectory is whatever they want to achieve. So our kids who stay with us through 12th grade and graduate, 100% of them last year were admitted to colleges and universities, and these range the gamut from the most highly selective types of schools in the country to schools that have very specific programs and services for students with learning differences. The way we approach that is thinking about what kind of school will help each child thrive, and that's really our driving force behind that. And then once our kids go on to college and university, they are able to put into practice the self-advocacy skills that they learned at lab. They are very successful in their college experiences, and they go on to do every kind of job and profession you can possibly imagine.
Where do parents fit in this equation?
Absolutely. Well, I think it's so important in any school to have a strong school-parent partnership, but I think even more importantly, when you have a student who has struggled. Because the reality is, when families find their way to lab, it's because something hasn't been working in the environment where their kid has been. And so parents actually come to us sometimes with a lot of baggage about school. And what we try to do is help them and their child put that baggage down and re-engage with a love of learning that is a part of being a child. And for parents, I think it's so critical for them to see their child enjoying school again. We often hear from our parents that lab saved my kid's life, but it also saved our family. And that's really the partnership piece.
So what should prospective parents know? What's the process for them?
Absolutely. Well, the first most important thing is to get in touch with us and engage with us and find out if lab is going to be the right environment for their child. Our special niche, again, is serving those kids with language-based learning differences and ADHD. And we have multiple information sessions that happen all throughout the year. So all parents need to do is go to our website, labschool.org, click on the admissions link, and sign up for an information session and find out about our school.
I think all parents and schools could benefit from your advice about playing to kids' strengths. Why doesn't that happen more, do you think?
You know, I think that's such a great question, and I have actually worked in so many different kinds of schools all over the country in my career. And I think often it's natural as human beings that we focus on the things that we can't do. And that's what we think we need to do to help kids grow and achieve. But I actually think that focusing on what you can do and using that to help you get better at the things that are hard for you is such a different and frankly much more positive approach. None of us like to be in a position where we're constantly feeling like we're failing. And at the same time, we know that the only time learning can happen is when we're hitting the wall of I don't know. So what we try to do is make sure kids are in that optimal zone of learning where they're having to reach and having to work, but they're doing it in a way where they're building little examples of success every single day.
What is your advice for encouraging kids? Like for me, ice cream has only gotten me so far. So what other tools are in the toolkit?
Well, I think really important for our students in particular is understanding that trying, sometimes failing, learning from your mistakes, figuring out what to do next, these are the skills that build resilience. And if we think about the skill set that is necessary to be successful in life as an adult, resilience is probably at the top of the list. So for our kids, I think it's automatic that they are building this resilience. And what I think is so powerful about Lab is that the way that you can build true resilience is having just the right mix of challenge and support. And that's what we do.
And build confidence.
Absolutely. And you know, the only way that anyone gets confident at something is having moments of success, right? We can tell kids, oh, you can do this, but we all have to experience that for ourselves to feel confident that we can. And so that's, again, such a critical part. And I think too often we don't spend enough time thinking about scaffolding those experiences so that students can have those little mini successes every day.
How far have we come in understanding learning differences, and how far do we have to go, do you think?
I think we've come a long way. I think there's a lot of conversation in the educational sphere about understanding the systematic approach to teaching reading, and that that's good for all students and necessary for some students, especially kids who are dyslexic. But I will tell you, it wasn't too long ago in a different school setting when I was working in another place that I had a teacher say to me, well, I don't think dyslexia actually exists. So that's an educator. That's a person who should know better. And I think there is, frankly, still a lot of unknown that exists in the world of parents, educators, and just people in general. And I think that the more we can do to demystify the idea that a learning difference is something to be ashamed of, we really say at Lab that we embrace differences as advantages. And we believe that what our job is to empower kids to believe in all of themselves and to understand that their brain is not broken, doesn't need to be fixed. It's exactly the way it's supposed to be, and our job is to help them reach their potential.
It's a good message. Thank you. I would like to thank today's guest again, Kim Wargo, the head of the Lab School. I'm John Aaron. For more on this discussion, visit WTOP.com and search the Lab School.